Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So, we got new weapons, and when new weapons come out, we do new comparison videos. That's what I have for you guys here today. But before I jump to that for you here, as always, I'm Chrono. I primarily cover PSO2 content. Much appreciate subscribe as we're towards that 10K mark, hopefully by the end of this year. We did break 9,200 finally. It's been a rough time, but we're gonna keep on grinding, keep on plugging. We'll keep on going and see what we can get done. Either way, let's go ahead and jump into this. So we kind of just went off the rip with the calculator on the screen. Nothing really too crazy here. We mostly know exactly what these weapons do, but you know what? Just so that we can stay on the same page, I'll go ahead and bring up a wiki page so we can take a look at the potential of the new weapon and we can talk about why they're so useful. All right, we're back taking a look at the Visiphone. Look, I don't know who needs to be told this, but please, my wiki friends, put a dark mode toggle at the very top of the page. Just the top, just put a dark mode toggle. I know it's not the easiest thing to deal with, but like, I shouldn't need to turn on my own personal dark mode toggle for this. This is disgusting. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the weapon directly. And head over to weapon series, Akroselio. Feel the potential. The potential reads as follows. So it is 46% potency at level 6. And photon blast gauge charge when attacking is plus 20%. Store up to 3 charges when you successfully nullify an attack with a sidestep weapon action. And then spend all charges when activating a photon blast to produce the following effects. You get PP consumption reduction for 90 seconds. You recover HP. You reduce your PB cooldown. You get additional attack, and then effects are enhanced depending upon the number of charges. So the additional attack that happens on your PB is depending upon the number of charges that you have. So basically, this weapon is really centered around using your photon blast as much as possible. Not only are you getting more damage, you're getting a follow-up attack on your photon blast as well as getting it back faster is on top of that too. So a lot of really cool stuff. Definitely worth its time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the math. That way you guys can find out exactly how close this is or where it compares something like a Twaalv. So here we are over on Cakewalk's damage calculator, or at least we're back to it as we were beforehand. If you've ever been to one of these or you've ever watched one of these videos beforehand, I have tons of videos explaining how this calculator works itself, but it's pretty straightforward. You plug in some numbers and we get some information out of this. This is just so we can compare what our current, best in slot weapons are and what the damage difference is between the two of them. Maybe you want to go towards one. Maybe you're concerned about the weapon that you have is still worth your money. Spoiler alert, it is, but we'll have to see how things shake up. So scrolling on down, you can see exactly what I have implemented. So we're essentially just checking out my gear, most likely, or more or less is just a Twaalv. Now I have mine set to attack. I personally normally use wicks on mine, but the fix really doesn't matter all that much. You're comparing like fixes in most situations when you're looking at the different weapons. This is a weapon that technically would benefit from having something like, wicks or a bandac if you have it built for it. But again, we're not looking at a bandac. We're actually not even going to look at the bandac in this situation because it uses augments that aren't currently out yet that have an estimated value. So we're not going to mess with that too much. Now we're just going to look at the comparison between Twaalv and the new 12-star Akroselio or whatever it's called weapon. So as you can see what my augments are here, again, you can just substitute yours out for LCs. Doesn't really make much of a difference. We're going to pop over to the data chart and take a look and talk about what we see here. So I always leave this on here just because as new weapons continue to come out, you can see this value get larger and larger. It's pretty terrible, and you should definitely upgrade yourself past that. Again, don't look at the bandac setup. The bandac setup is very heavily skewed, seeing as that it doesn't use augments that we currently have access to. So just keep that in mind when we're looking at this. So first, we start off with comparing it to Twaalv Solo. So Twaalv Solo, when we're looking at it, we're comparing it directly to an Akroselio, about a 3% difference. Doesn't seem like much, right? Well, because the reality is it's really not a whole lot. Percentages don't vastly change in PSO2. Everything is multiplicative, however, so the numbers do get substantially larger, but the percentages don't really get that much bigger. So if you're curious, should I upgrade to my Akroselio? Well, the reality is if you currently have a Twaalv, you're not missing out a whole lot by not upgrading to an Akroselio immediately. Eventually, everyone's going to, just because it's the nature of the game itself. You're going to run urgent quests. You're going to get all the materials you need for the weapon itself. You likely already have a built Tricelio, so it's worth going ahead and upgrading it. And it's going to be a valuable weapon for you to use. Also, the gameplay loop on the Akroselio seems really cool, especially since it's built into using your PBs as much as possible and generating your PB back faster, as well as having a shorter cooldown on it. Seems like it could be a very powerful weapon, especially with that extra follow-up attack. Now, I was kind of concerned that the follow-up attack was going to be like a buff on you that you would do follow-up attacks after you PB, but it looks like it just happens right when you PB, so no big deal there. Now you're probably looking at this and thinking, oh well, but what about Twaalv 8 players estimated? So this number is a little bit weird in my opinion. So this is a group and how much damage you're getting out of this. When I understand, this is like one person using a Twaalv and how much more damage it's getting based on everyone else that's in the group, because having multiple people with Twaalvs doesn't actually do anything. It just means that the buff is going to reproc itself over and over again for everyone. But one person on a Twaalv and everyone else on a different weapon actually going to give you a lot of damage, just because basically what it's doing is calculating the damage that you're giving everyone else along with it. So having a Twaalv with 8 players estimated is still very, very powerful. So if you are someone who's, let's say, playing Force or playing Tector, it's actually worth for you to keep using your Twaalv and give everyone that crit chance bonus whenever there's a down and you're not losing much damage overall. You also do scale pretty well on gaining downs, because it's not just elemental downs, it's physical downs as well. So you're able to get quite a bit out of what it is that you're doing. But for the vast majority of people, you're just going to upgrade your Akroselio and you're good to go. Twaalv is still useful. Twaalv is still powerful. It's still, it still has its place. But realistically speaking, most people are going to be moving on to here. And that's just about it. So what's the answer? It's about a 2% damage difference overall. Is it going to end the world? No. Most of the time it doesn't. If you want to keep your weapon, keep your weapon. Not a big deal. Doesn't really change much for Slayer either. I know there is actually a weapon this time around where crit was involved as well. For Slayer specifically, it's a bit more powerful, meaning this number is going to be a bit smaller, but overall it's around the same amounts. You're looking at about 2% difference. Not going to be the end of the world, no matter how you look at it. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to toss in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything that I missed in the comments. I'll make sure to go ahead and pin it, heart it, make an amendment, whatever it happens to be, and we'll talk about it then. Either way, like if you enjoyed the video. So if you want to keep up with more, as always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.